Just kind of overview. I imagine by raise of hands, how many SEOs do we have here today? Oh man, I'm so screwed. No, I'm just playing. No, but yeah, as we are all trying to think through this thing, it's been quite painful with the volatility and that kind of stuff. So hopefully my experience and story can help you out. But what I'm finding lately is we're all helping each other out trying to get through this thing. So feel free. We'll have some Q&A afterwards, and we can hash this thing out. Just to give you a quick idea of what my day-to-day is like, I work on a website that has 26 subdomains. It has massive pagination, as you can imagine, dealing with 40 million products plus. The goal is to get it to 70 million, so pagination is just going to keep growing. We have, like every country we work in here, we have a unique catalog. So for the most part, it's more language-based, I would say, but definitely, Canada is different than the U.S. and that kind of thing. We serve over 100 million monthly impressions, and we have, we're way over 11,000 now. As Mike pointed out, we're past 12,000 in terms of merchant feeds. We syndicate, I don't know if you've heard of us, but we syndicate to Yahoo Shopping, PC World, AOL. We do some backfill with Bing, about.com shopping. So you can imagine the amount of duplicate content that our feeds produce, and how when Panda first hit, how much it hurt. Since then, though, we've been able to rebound. Right now, we're sitting about 40% up visits year over year, and making a very nice comeback. So today, I'd like to just share some of this stuff with you. This is kind of how I feel when I think about SEO lately. It's like your house is it's a house of cards, right? It's you're sitting there thinking, man, I got to figure it out. And then, boom, another update hits or something switches, and there you are. You come in the next day, and it's always right when I walked out of the executive meeting, and I told them like how everything's good, and we got it, and they're just so happy about the return on the numbers. And the next day, I look at the ranking report or the traffic in a channel, and I'm just like, holy cow, I got to go back in there and eat my lunch, and gracefully, of course. I'm still employed, so I guess I'm doing a good job at that. And just forewarn you guys, I've done like a presentation at SMX after lunch before, and it's dead. I'm not saying you guys are dead, but I'm going to get a little bit colorful here, so forgive that. I think we kind of need that in our afternoon thing. If you're feeling a yawn come on, we can do calisthenics or something. I don't think we're going to need to, though, because we got a lot of nerdy data here. We're going to talk about algorithms, patents, and a little bit about Matt Cutts. Again, last year at least, when Panda first hit, it was like constantly in the conference room, we're always talking about Panda. It was so bad, it was like the janitor would walk in and you're looking at the downward chart and Panda, and what are you going to do? It's like pretty bad when you walk around the office and everybody knows what you're working on, and people are joking with the sales guys like, oh, so how's that Panda going? Yeah, I heard about it. So, I think though, well, I don't know. I'm not going to say that it's getting better because I think with Penguin, we're about to really get punched in the mouth. But a lot of times you hear about Panda, but in actuality, Panda and Penguin are kind of working together. I'm sure you guys know there's a lot of SEOs in the room that really the idea was they were going to roll out this whole Panda thing, and then they realized, man, there's all this spam. We got to do something about that too. So they started rolling out, working on Penguin. And they're really basically the main objective of Panda is to just reward high quality sites. I know a lot of times we hear this penalization thing about low quality, which I guess that's kind of makes sense. But the intent, according to Google, is to reward the high quality sites, not necessarily diminish low quality sites. But in doing that, they obviously have to identify what low quality sites are. Trusted domains are more important than ever. And there's a lot of de-indexing going on. I don't know about you guys, but I'm constantly finding myself working on improving crawl rates and how to make sure that when that indexation starts to drop, how we pump it back up. Penguin is basically to deal with the intentional spamming techniques that are going on with affiliates and over-optimization that's out there. So these two algos, I think really how it's working out is these two algos are going to be working together and going to be flushing out, well, hopefully not your site and my site, but flushing out the bad stuff and rewarding your site and my site because we're the good stuff, right? And it's all kind of started, with this guy, Matt Cutts, head of web spam. And, I remember, back in the day, I had this romantic, bromance, I guess, with Matt Cutts, where I was like, oh man, I can't wait till the Matt Cutts post comes out, and I would get on the Matt Cutts blog, like, oh man, he hasn't written another one, or he'd write about his vacation or something, and I would be like, oh man, I want to hear about your vacation, I want to know what's going on at Google, and then I go to the conference, always, oh, Matt Cutts is here, let's go see it, and I don't know, this romantic relationship as an SEO. Maybe it's just me. I think it. I talked to other SEOs. I think it's going on with all of us. It's all of a sudden it was Matt Cutts is like when you watch Star Wars. There's Anakin on Tatooine and they go get him and they're like, oh man, you got the Force. And Matt Cutts is in North Carolina and Google goes and gets him and they bring him back and they start teaching him all this stuff. And we're like the Jedi Academy. We're like, let's learn from Matt Cutts. What's it? And then all of a sudden, he switches up, right? And I don't know what he's doing. He's choking out Michael Gray. He's going crazy. It's like he went rogue or something, right? I mean, that's how I'm feeling as an SEO. I'm like, what are you doing, man? I mean, I was sitting in those conferences thinking, he was talking about paid links and all these linking stuff, and I'm like, well, yeah, I understand that, but you're not really penalizing it, so we could do kind of gray hat stuff, right? And all of a sudden, it's like he's serious about what he was talking about 5 years ago, and he's just axing us. So I don't know if he's gone rogue over there and he's just doing a power trip or something, or if he's really I guess walking the walk now. But there's only one way to find out. So that's kind of what we're going to do today in this presentation. Just go through some stuff. I'm sure you guys have probably all know it, but at least we can get the discussion going for Q&A. So down not too far from here, there's a lot of stuff going on with this Matt Cutts guy. He's like CIA now, or doing some covert stuff with all these projects about Panda and Penguin. We're going to focus on some of these. I think the only way that we can figure out what's going on is to isolate the pattern and the algorithm. So there's this one project code name called page quality. And this basically is a launch that's going to help them find more high quality content. I underlined it there where the part I think is really important is that's why I underlined it. The Panda algorithm is to better detect high quality sites and pages. So that gives us, okay, there's nothing about low quality. I mean, yeah, they're trying to farm it out and get it out, but page quality, they're really looking for the high quality stuff there. Freshness, project codename, freshness. This change improves basically the interaction between various search components to improve search results for searches looking for the fresh content. I don't really know what that description means, but I do know what freshness means, freshness and page quality. Synonyms, we all know about LSI, right? The latent semantic indexing, that was kind of like the launch of the new, synonym, matching, blue and aqua. Oh, they're like related, that's cool, man. And they put that in the algorithm so they understood when, you were talking about Apple, you were talking about the brand, probably not the fruit and that kind of thing. We figured that out pretty quick. We were like, okay, well, yeah, I'll just put some synonyms. I had this little thing called an LSI graph I used to do, where I'd go in there and I'd go down and look at all the site links and I'd put them in this little graph in Excel, and I had my adjectives and my nouns and my verbs, and then I'd try to play with them and work it in, give it to the copywriter. Like, here, just use these, just I don't care how you do it, just put them in there and get my LSI. I had that thing figured out. So now though they're advancing the game. Now they're looking at intention. They're going, okay, well, you can use these synonyms, but what's your intention? So synonyms, we'll jump into that in a slide or two. The project code name other ranking components is essentially better ordering the top results using a new and improved ranking function for combining several key ranking features. Very vague and Google-ish, but you know what? We'll get into maybe what some of those other ranking components are. They're certainly not paid links, though. We know that. And just as a disclaimer, Pricegrabber does not engage in any deceptive linking. I'm just speaking on behalf of one SEO to another. So all right, so we got that out of the way. Since June, there has been 86 changes in updates. So that's a lot of damn changes when you think about it. And I've been feeling it somewhat. There's been some volatility out there. And that's where some of these project names are coming out of, is those 86 changes since June. Before that, we had a ton, I think over 19 Panda updates since last year. Yeah, it's tough times, but it keeps us gainfully employed. Another thing that came out just a couple weeks ago, I'm sure you guys probably heard, was transition rank, which is a patent which was essentially called rank modifying spammers patent. So I don't know if Matt Cutts or Google are talking to me when they say that, but it kind of feels a little personal, Rank modifying spammers patent. We used to be, Matt Cutts and I used to be really, really cool, and they got to throw out that spammer word in there. But it's not personal. We'll get into the manual update too, which I don't know if you guys heard about, but that was released kind of covertly, very secretively, kind of Google-ish. It basically is, they're looking at the, I don't know if you guys heard about the Digital Marketing Act or Copyright Act, whatever it was called. But people can now submit complaints. Hey, you're infringing upon my copyright, and if this, and basically they're looking at those accusations, and we'll talk about it real quick. And then of course there's this big penguin thing that's kind of looming over us. When are the updates coming? And Penguin's going to target those quality guidelines. We obviously hear about the links, sneaky redirects, irrelevant keywords, so on and so forth. So first, real quick, let's talk about transition rank, just in case you haven't heard about it. We got a nice little screenshot of the patent here, because I know you SEOs are geeks like me, and we just like to figure out what's going on. So yes, I did do this at, what time is it, 2:30, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I put a paragraph of the patent there, and yes, we are going to read it, because I think it's telling. But essentially, if you just kind of want to zone out on the paragraph reading part, you got a picture. So you can kind of figure that out there. So the no rank modifying. So this document here is basically talking about, this picture here is talking about how if they think you're spamming, they're just going to like switch it up on you. It's like, have you been walking down the street and that one guy who, he may not be homeless, he just, I don't know, but he's like doing like the cups thing with the ball, and he's like moving it around really fast, and you give him like $1 and he lets you win, but then you do it again and then he gets your $5. You guys, is that, all right. Well, there is a game like that, I swear. Anyways, so that's kind of how I think of this thing. Let's read it. When a spammer tries to positively influence a document's rank through rank modifying spamming, the spammer may be perplexed by the rank assigned by a rank transition function consistent with the principles of the invention, such as the ones described above. So essentially right there, they're saying, hey, a spammer is going to try to do something. We're going to just perplex them and just assign different ranks. And they're going to be like, oh my God, what's going to happen? What do I do? I don't know if you guys been feeling that way lately. Has that been going on? It totally has, right? So now, for example, the initial response to the spammer's changes may cause the document's rank to negatively influence rather than positively influence. So you went out and bought that PR7, or maybe you didn't. Okay, we're not buying links in here, right? But maybe you cajoled somebody who has a PR7 to put a link on their site. And you're thinking, oh yes, you run into your boss's office, oh, we're going to PR7, we need to do a press release, and I kind of hide it in the link graph and do all that. And then all of a sudden you get all that going on, and then bam, it drops, and your boss is like, what was that $300 for? What happened? And this is what's going on. So in response to the negative results, the spammer may remove the changes, and thereby the long-term impact on the document rank is 0. So essentially, they're expecting you, when they start doing this volatility and shaking it up and that kind of thing, it's like, Matt, he's got us figured out. It's like, he's thinking 2 steps ahead. Like, we're going to freak out, and we're going to pull our links, or not we, because we don't, Pricegrabber doesn't engage in deceptive linking. But us, you guys, are going to be like, oh my God, like, we got to pull the links. There was a mistake. What are we doing? And then alternatively or additionally, it may take an unknown amount of time to see the positive results in response to the spammer's changes. So right there, there's an admission that, I mean, granted, it's kind of vague. It's an unknown amount of time. But it does say that maybe eventually there will be positive results. And I don't know if you guys have been daredevil enough to just leave your link there. But just from testing, I've kind of seen this. There's like this ramp up time that kind of happens where it's like really bad, and then it just starts to creep back up, and then all of a sudden it's working its way back to where it used to be. So it's almost like there's this iteration process they just added on. Like, well, okay, we think that maybe you're doing something, but you know what? We don't have enough people to manually check that, so we're just gonna just make you fly around a little bit, and then we'll just even you into the position that you're trying to fake us out on or whatever. So in response to the delayed results, the spammer may perform additional changes in an attempt to positively or more positively influence the document's rank. So then they're thinking, well, maybe they'll add more links to get more positive rank, and we'll just shake it up some more. And in either event, these further spamming initiated changes may assist in identifying signs of rank modification. So basically, what the whole plan of this patent of transition rank is, they're just going to shake it up a little bit, and either we're going to pull our links, and it's just going to correct itself, or you guys are going to add more links, and they're going to be able to see like, oh yeah, you're a spammer, you're out of here. So that's an interesting patent, I thought, and it was just a couple weeks ago. They've been doing it longer than that. I mean, I've noticed stuff for a while now. I've always been kind of curious, are they doing that? But then that patent came out, I was like, oh, I knew it. So anyways, the manual update. Not a lot of people, well, I guess by now probably everybody's heard about it, but when it first rolled out, not everybody heard about it, and there's some people that I know that I trust that haven't. So they dubbed it was dubbed by Search Engine Land because of the Hollywood effort to fight the copyright, which was led by Ari Emanuel. The Google name for this is the Dmca Filter. So if you're talking to Matt, refer it to that, and that's more official. So essentially what this is it's a filter. It's not necessarily an algorithm. It's another filter that they've deployed that will have frequent updates that will push to it. But basically, and it's not intended to penalize you, but if you are engaging in copyright infringement, your pages will be devalued. And it's not, well, from what I understand, it's not a site-wide penalty. They're doing it on a page level. But if you have a lot of copyrighted content, it'll feel like it's a site-wide penalty. So the filters are basically based, the filter calculation is based on the number of DMCA requests that have been filed against you. So essentially it's an accusation made. It's not necessarily like they prove that you were doing this. It was that they're kind of calculated, well, if you have 1,000 of these requests, you must be doing something wrong. Or if you have 50, I don't know. I don't know what their threshold is. But there's actually here, there's I don't know if you guys see that in back, but there is all the sites, or at least all the sites that it's a part of the transparency report. So there's about 130,000 domains that are there in the transparency report. If you want to, it's listed in 20, so you have to click the next arrow a lot to see if your site's on there. But this happened around August 9th. In there, August 9th, August 10th, somewhere in there. If you carry products or something that you usually know when you have a DMCA, it's pretty transparent. The person who's accusing you has to, it's not like submitting something to the Google web spam. It's basically they have to say, hey, it's me, I'm saying you're copyright infringing, and you're notified and that kind of thing. So most of the time you know, but keep your eye out for that. So, the Wrath of Penguin. I figured I'd put a little quote here, back to Matt Cutts. You don't want the next Penguin update. It kind of sounded like an Al Capone line or something. I put in a Darth Vader voice because it was like, you don't want the next Penguin update. I don't know. That's just me. That's what I do at work. I sit there and do Darth Vader voices and look at Matt Cutts' photo all day. It's kind of psycho. Anyways, So Submit Express did an analysis on 6 sites back in May 2012 that I just pulled out here for you. So kudos to them. One, if the majority of website backlinks are low quality or spammy looking, there's the obvious stuff there that you guys probably know about. Or 2, if majority of website backlinks are unrelated websites, so if you're selling golf balls, you can no longer put your links on a baseball website or something like that. They're a little bit more focused. You used to be able to kind of place links based on kind of general theming. You know, you can maybe skate, well, this is sports, you know. It's a little bit more focused now. If too many links are pointing back to the website with exact match keywords, which I think we all kind of knew. I mean, we all kind of, well, most of us tried to stay away from. We want to diversify that anchor text. Well, it's for real now. It was a best practice, and now it's kind of, oh, there's Penguin. Another thing that I think oftentimes when we talk about Penguin, we talk about links, but there is also, it has to do with content as well, from an overall optimization perspective. So I just pulled this from SEJ. It's an infographic that came out, I think, yesterday or somewhere earlier this week. And it was done by linkassistant.com, but essentially it's talking about, you know, eliminating duplicate content, make your keyword density Penguin safe. So, you know, don't, rely on those synonyms. I think it's all logical stuff to an SEO. And essentially also to streamline your site's internal linking. From the standpoint of Pricegrabber, this was a big way that we overcame the damage. Is we really focused on, I mean, one thing was crawl and indexation and so on, you know, the obvious stuff, but we really focused on emphasizing the content that we wanted to rank and our internal linking. And I think the larger your site is, the easier it is to kind of lose sight of that because it's more of a pain in the butt, right? You know, how do you do that kind of stuff? So kind of getting into content is king, let's revisit project codename synonyms. A reminder, this launch improves use of query synonyms in the ranking. Now we're less likely to, we as in Google, are less likely to show documents where the synonym has a different meaning than the original search term. So again, this is focusing on intent. And yes, I have more language from a patent here. A system and method use session-based user data to more correctly capture a user's potential information need based on an analysis of strings of queries other users have formed in the past. So real quick, just for your own information, there are multiple synonym patents going all the way back to LSI. So it's kind of like somebody building on this whole synonym thing. This one is more focused kind of, if you remember when personalization came out and how they're gonna figure out that you are, you want this, you like these things, and kind of doing the remarketing effort that they do. That exists, but it's not too far of a stretch to say how they're gonna use this data, and they already kind of are. With just general queries. You don't necessarily have to be logged into Gmail anymore to see some of that. So they're looking at if you type in a search query, what would your intent be? And they're aggregating all this information that they have across multiple sources to accomplish the revised queries are provided based on data collected from many individual user sessions. So for example, such data may include click data, explicit user data. Explicit, that's not just user data, that's like some really freaky user data. Or hover data. So, watch out. But anyways, so I underlined the important part is correctly capture a user's potential information need, which basically talks about the intent. What the information need that they're trying to extract in that search query. And that's kind of where this thing's going. So I did talk about internal linking structure just a second ago. I wanted to kind of point out an example here. Hawaiian Airlines has done some things with their content and internal linking structure. And it's kind of just to emphasize, it's really just to emphasize your content, right? I mean, we've been doing this, I'm sure a lot of us have been doing this for years, and it's not like, oh, it's an epiphany, Gabe. Internal linking, wow, you know. But kind of emphasizing it in your navigational components. It's like back to basics in a way. So in an era of Panda and duplicate content and all this stuff going on the web, the way to kind of, at least in our neck of the woods at Pricegrabber, where we have hundreds of partners and all these feeds and it's just duplicating over and over again, is we wanted to create emphasis and use our existing page rank and authority to kind of like move it around and say, hey, look, these pages are all in our navigation element and we're emphasizing these pages here and carry it forward. You know, you got it, Google. This is the stuff that we want you to rank. And you're just creating that additional emphasis. One right here, the URL architecture defines the content hierarchy. Notice down there, number one, down here in the corner, yeah, I made that a little difficult for you. But if you can't see in the back, what it says is it's hawaiianair.com/vacation-packages/Oahu/. So as you can see, the URL architecture is defining the content hierarchy. There's vacation packages, there's Oahu. And your internal linking structure is essentially creating the foundation of, hey, this is the order of priority of my content. Vacation packages is more important than Oahu vacations, or whatever, you know, however you want to define that. So, and we can get into like, yeah, I won't go there. You guys can figure it out. So then number two is click path and navigational structure. I talked about that. 3, content is original and tailored to the user, not the bot. And I think you guys talked about, if you were in the last session, there was some talk about content and that kind of thing. But I mean, it's really where it's at. And that's kind of going over some of these patent protocol and stuff like that, you can really tell that content is even more and more important as links are being de-emphasized, as microformats are being more emphasized, as the social graph is ramping up. It's the natural signals that Google is trying to aggregate and farm out from you as a content provider and from other external users are going to naturally propagate into their algorithm over time as Penguin and Panda keep kissing in that tree. So, plan of attack. Yes, we're to that point. You guys, that all makes sense, right? We're good right there? Do we need to time out and go take a break? Because I know that was a lot of patent stuff, but you're SEOs, so I know you love this stuff, right? Yeah.
I didn't catch the third one back there.
The third one, let's go back. So third one is content is original and tailored to the user of the bot. I put 3 over there because I didn't want to create another picture. I mean, the content, if you click on the Oahu link there, it takes you to this nice formatted page where it's talking, it's you know, original content written by Hawaiian Air. It's talking about how nice Oahu is and uses some really cool words. It's original. It's something that if you are looking for a Hawaiian vacation and you read that, you're like, I'm going to Oahu or I'm going to Maui. Like, I gotta go. You know, you feel compelled to want to go to Hawaii. It's not like, visit the Hawaii Islands. There are many things you can do in Hawaiian activities. You know, it's like, it's very good.
So you're all for guest posting, relevant sites?
Well, I mean, see, here we go. Pricegrabber does not participate in guest posting. No. Well, yes. Well, no and yes. I mean, the day. Yeah, we'll talk after. But real quick, since you asked, guest posting. I mean, gosh, you got to do it, right? You got to do what you got to do. That's kind of what it's coming down to. It's like we're boxed in. We're trying to. We don't want to be bad. Like, none of us want to be bad. We have a job to do, right? Nobody wants to piss off Matt Cutts. Nobody wants to do this thing. But we got to figure out what we got to do. And part of that is creating original. If you're running a guest post, it's authentic. It's not a spammy thing. Why not? I mean, if it's useful information, it has that link embedded. Why not? You know. But reading some of the Matt Cutts stuff. You know, I don't know where that's going to go, but it sounds like he's getting a little pissed off at guest posting. So what's next, right? That's 2013. We don't have to worry about that right now. Yes?
Wait, are you the one asking? Yeah. Do you mean guest posts as in like having content that's written by users, or like by friends or whatever to write your content about Oahu?
No, I mean like what he's saying, like relevant, good quality, credible stuff. So placed on a similar relevant industry site.
Right, yeah, you definitely have to have the relevancy factor. Like, you can't post on an auto site and be talking about,
Yeah,
Apple.
I'm talking about credible.
Yeah,
Not just
absolutely.
some user generated from India or something.
Nothing wrong with India.
Nothing wrong with it.
All right. Plan of attack. So this is this is kind of how I broke it out into silos when we needed to get in there and get our hands dirty and fight back. It was like Return of the Jedi, right? We're like, Panda, you are not going to take us out. We're standing up to you. So what we kind of did is we went through this really painful process, which hopefully you're past this, but if you're not, this hopefully will help you. So we looked at our URLs first. We broke that. We looked at the structure. We looked at keyword usage. We looked at tracking parameters, folder depth. Where the hell are all these redirects going? You can imagine on a site as big as ours, it's like there was like redirects. So you had to audit all those, had to mine those out. And then first, this is kind of the plan of attack is just information gathering, right? Before you go on the attack, you have to figure out, okay, it's just like chess, right? It's like as you're moving down the board, your opponent's moving their pieces, and sometimes you just have to stop and think about all your moves before you move that piece. That's kind of where the plan of attack is. Keyword optimization, target based on search volume, map the targets and metadata, which basically means, are we targeting in our not keyword tags, but title tags, description, that kind of thing. Are we targeting the appropriate way in our meta tags? Competitiveness. Where are competitors at? Are they killing us? Is it worth it if we can't win? Are they even there? Like, are we targeting a keyword that we just want to have and they're not even there? Because if they're not and they're doing a damn good job or something like that, is it worth the effort? So you look at competitors, or it may be worth the other, maybe a great effort. Anchor text analysis. You got to pull all that anchor text data. You got to mine it out. You got to look at the diversity and that kind of thing, and figure that reverse engineer your whole backlinking thing, which can be a total pain. That's what interns are for. Design optimization. Essentially, what's going on your design? Do you have any blockers? Are your templates tearing you up here? Do we need to mock up some wireframes and look at a better case scenario as how the site can be presented? We had to do that. We had to cut out a whole layer of our website and figure out how to do that. It took a while. On-site links, readable text, layout. Sometimes there's text on there, and gosh, it sure is good text, but you just can't. It's not picked up by the bot. And then, of course, content optimization, targeting keywords in silos. Silos meaning thematic silos. On the Hawaiian Airlines example, it was vacation packages. So you would put in your destinations in that silo. Leveraging feeds and backend data. So if you have feeds, if you have extra stuff that you can bring onto the site that might help create some of that freshness as we're talking about. It doesn't necessarily have to lead your content strategy, but it makes a bot a little bit curious. Oh, I wonder what they're talking about today, and brings them back. Then hey, increase your crawl that way. Title tags and internal linking, kind of touched on that, but yes, I talked about internal link enough. Keyword usage and content. Again, it doesn't have to be the keyword over and over again, but you can't expect to rank for something if you're not even using keywords and you just have a bunch of pictures. So establishing the priority in your plan, right? So now we have all this information. We thought, okay, my opponent is coming down the board. They have 5 moves. They have 1 move or 3 moves or whatever. I'm going to be in checkmate if I don't make some sort of tactical move here, right? So you have to establish a priority. How am I going to move my pieces to either defend my queen or my king, or how am I going to prioritize my plan to counterattack, whatever that might be. So what keywords are really converting in paid and organic? Got to take a look at that. I know it's so hard in our day-to-day job. Sitting down with the paid team, especially my paid team, they have multiple, they own multiple parts of the global strategy, and getting them all together and figuring out and mining through millions and millions of keywords and that kind of thing can be a pain in the butt, and I would not recommend doing that. I would say though, but keep it at a high level. You want to establish your core targets. You want to know what's making them money, because it may not be making you money. And there could be more money to be made. And you also want to, it could reveal immediate revenue opportunities, meaning there might be an area that it just costs too much. They can't go there. It's way too much. And guess what? You get to be superhero, dun, 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 and be like, I can rank for that. Yes, So you want to be able to have that communication available. What are the low-hanging fruit? We all know what low-hanging fruit is. You got to provide that impact, that immediate impact, because when you roll out this strategy, at least for me, when I go in the executive's office, I go, I got the $1 million plan. He goes, that's great. How long is it going to take? I'm like, 12 months. And he's like, no. So I have to have some low-hanging fruit. It's like the appetizer before the entree, The CEO likes appetizers, man, so you got to serve it up. So what is cannibalization effect on paid and organic? Sometimes we're in the same place at the same time, and they're spending too much money on something they don't need to spend the money on. And so you want to be able to strategically align that. And promote cost savings, because it looks pretty cool when you go back to CEO's office and be like, guess what I did? I just saved you like $30,000 or something, It makes it kind of, and I'm not saying do everything so you look at the CEO, but but we all got to cover our behind in this crazy age of panda and penguin. We have to have our wins, so when we go in and take one in the gut, we can walk out of the office gainfully employed.
How do you figure out the right combination? That's pretty hard to do between paid and the organic one.
Well, you can do it two ways. Essentially, I look at cost. So if I see a keyword where the cost is exorbitant and it doesn't make sense, and I'm like I'm on position 12, and I'm thinking, God, man, you guys are really like killing yourselves there, and you're only like position 4 or 5. Why don't I just work my way up here? And when I get to this point, you can decline, or it could be that that you're on page 1 already, and the conversion rate is low, but they're getting some money on it. But if you rank organic, your conversion rate's going to be higher. So it takes a little bit of thinking. There's no like obvious answer all the time, but you definitely want to look at cost and revenue and look at your own. You have to have a little faith in yourself if you're able to rank for those keywords too. Does that make sense? Does that kind of answer the question?
Google likes to show slides saying the more you spend, the more you get on both sides.
Right. Right when you start ranking, they're going to shake you up again, right? No, hopefully that's not the case. Then obviously got to keep business objectives in mind. That always impacts prioritization. If I have a team over here that if mobile's like the major business objective this year, then man, all my ideas for how I'm going to rank, on Bing are just probably they're not going to be the thing. So here we go. Answer your question. Here's a good example for you. Here's. It's not necessarily related to It's basically this is about fixing. Okay, I'll just walk through it. So keyword 3, right here. We'll just say is one of your keywords. Now look right over here. You got PPC making $113,000, but yet your SEO revenue is not there. You're non-existent, but you're number 1. How can that be, right? Those guys are making all this money, and this whole time, if I'm just looking at my data, I'm thinking this keyword's lost. It doesn't make any money. What is it? It gets a lot of clicks, but there's no revenue there. But because I pull the data and I bring there in, holy cow, they're making $100,000 on this keyword. What's wrong? And suddenly I suddenly went from, oh, this is just an obsolete keyword to, oh my God, I got a money cow right here. And then looking at it, it's like, oh man, it's the content on the page. Like when I look at their page, their landing page is all nice and they drive in a conversion. Mine's like my content's way on down low on the scroll, and there's all these products and very similar. It looks ugly. So then it's like, well, if I just fix the copy, well, boom, and there's $24,000. It's like that's a good example of looking at your integrated strategy.
Where are you pulling that data from? Is it a combination of your analytics data and AdWords?
Well, are you? I don't know. Is this like one of those questions where I'm divulging too much information? No. You would go to your data resource. We have a data warehouse. It's internal. Yeah. It can aggregate. Yeah. So however you do it. Obviously like tools like Omniture, AdWords, or Google Analytics, something like that might be a little bit different, but you can pretty much get to it. You just have to figure out how to set it up quickly. And I'm not an analytics guy. That's another session. But I love those guys. Those guys are amazing. And they make me look smarter than I am. All right. So the 3 values of prioritizing. Impact, ease of implementation. So now you have your plan. You're ready to go. Okay, I got this thing here. I got this list of stuff. Now let's do it all. And obviously you can't do it all. You have to have, oh really? All right, damn. All right, so impact, so basically how I measure is impact, how will this recommendation impact your business, ease of implementation, how easily can it implement, and readiness. I always have resourcing issues over at Pricegrabber, so sometimes it takes a long time. And determining if I might have a great idea, but they're not ready to implement it, and it's going on the back burner, so I better do these 3 things first. And even though it's not as high as impact, they're ready to roll on it. So this is kind of like a sheet of like, you can do it your own way. To be honest, like I don't always do it that way. I kind of just write stuff down, but I had to make it look pretty for you. How to get stuff done in-house. You got to get understanding for the people you work with and interact. Ask them their opinions on projects. You got to find out goals of the business stakeholders in your organization, support them. That's a big thing that I like to do. I like to know, hey, content guy, product guys, what do you want to do? What do you want to do in the next 3 months? How are you going to do this? And then I find out, right? And then I co-op those projects. I go in and go, it's going to take me 6 months to do this. Well, hey, you know what? You're going to do that. Hey, is it okay if I enhance it with some SEO and make your project better? And they go, oh, yeah, that's a good idea. And then I get what I want, and they get what they want. It's a whole win-win. I say I'm all for co-opting projects. That's how you get stuff done in-house. How to get stuff done if you're working with an agency? Those agency guys. I'm a former agency guy, so I say that very friendly. Educate on company culture. Let them know what's your culture like. Let them know who the stakeholders are. Help them foster independent relationships so you're not the bottleneck all the time. The agency you allow them to go talk to the tech guy or allow them to go talk to the analytics people. Explain the internal process so when they come in with their mega plan, it's like they are in reality and they're not cooking your feet. Leverage the knowledge base of the agency. These people see so much cool stuff out there and they're very diverse in terms of strategy. They see all kinds of looks. You want to leverage that as, hey, these guys are part of us, and you take that knowledge and allow it to reflect as a part of your team as well. And then commend the extra effort. I mean, those guys, trust me, agency life is a grind. These guys get burned. They work a lot of hours. When they get that compliment, like, oh man, I appreciate this, so thanks. Right, Mike? Yeah. I think I know I always appreciated it. How to get stuff done for an agency? If you're at an agency, learn their organization. Doesn't move quickly. Doesn't move slowly. What are their personality types? Are they kind of psycho? Need to tone it down. Are they very apathetic? Need to pep them up. And establish the boundaries. These are my boundaries. Don't yell at me. But hey, you know what? You can expect that next week. And then who do you approach to move forward? You got to figure out who the stakeholders are that are going to move your agenda and your plan forward. So all in all, thank you for letting me go over my time. And there's my contact information if you would like to email me or tweet me. And please give me your business card. I did not bring them. And I certainly would love to email you if you hand it off to me. Thank you.